Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheilin Herrick. I'm the Director of Marketing here at SOS Online Backup. I am joined by our Product Manager, Derek Wood.
Hello, everybody.
So we will hang on for just about 30 seconds, 45 seconds here, and make sure that everybody that needs to be on the presentation can get on, and then we'll get started. Okay, if I could get a quick audio check and find out if everybody can hear me and see my screen okay, that'd be great. Then I know that we are totally good to go. Just find the questions tool and type in there that you can hear me and see my screen. Okay, awesome. Sounds like we are good to go. So I understand that we may have some folks that are already partners of ours on the line today, in which case, welcome. We're glad to have you. Everyone, we certainly encourage questions, and we love interaction in these webinars, so please feel free to ask away. And hopefully everybody finds everything interesting and informative for them. So the first thing that we're going to go over is the industry overview and opportunity that there is for online backup. There's a great deal of opportunity here for you. Not to sound redundant or repeat myself, but we're in the early majority section of the innovation adoption life cycle. So what this means is that there is a whole big world out there of consumers that have yet to learn about online backup and businesses that have yet to learn about online backup, but would find it a fit for them and would find it a solution to their concerns and needs. They're probably concerned about what's going to happen someday to all of this digital data that they're creating. They're creating videos, they're creating Word documents, spreadsheets, they're creating millions of them cumulatively every single day. What happens if they went away? What happens if they went away and they couldn't get them back? They would have been very, very happy that they were paying their managed service provider or IT consultants a bit of money to make sure that they could get that information back. To speak to that point, we have some stats from the IDC, which is an analyst firm that spends a lot of time looking at online backup businesses and people in the online backup industry. They surveyed IT managers and found that 16% of companies were using online backup today, and 69% are evaluating it or planning to use it. That certainly corresponds nicely to the chart above of the innovation adoption life cycle. There's a great wide world of opportunity of consumers and SMBs out there waiting to buy online backup from people like you. So what's propelling this online backup adoption? Expansion of internet bandwidth is one major factor. This applies much more in areas outside of North America, as internet bandwidth in places like Australia and New Zealand is somewhat regulated and somewhat limited and is becoming much more available to the general populace. So the easier it is for us to put data up into the cloud, the cheaper it is too. And the more likely individuals and businesses are likely to back up their data off-site. There's also been a decrease in hosted storage costs. So this is important because we're making more data. We want to encourage people to put it up in the cloud, right? We want it to be cost-effective for them to do so, and it is. And the technical sophistication of the population. So again, this ties back to the innovation adoption life cycle. We still have a pool of people who haven't heard about online backup and don't know what it is. However, that pool of people who don't know is rapidly decaying, and the pool of people who do know is growing. And we've already been talking about this a little bit, but we as individuals and businesses are increasing the size and value of digital data that we create. For example, we're creating digital data right now. We're recording this webinar for all of you. And I don't want to lose it, so I'm definitely going to put it up in the cloud when we're done with this and that file is done being completed. Let's talk a little bit about tape. How many of you guys have clients that are using tape, or in the past had clients that were using tape? Maybe you've already been successful in talking them into moving over to the cloud, or maybe you're working on that right now and that's why you're here attending this webinar. One very, very compelling piece of information is that tape used to be less expensive than online backup, but due to all the factors we previously mentioned, like decrease in hosted storage costs, online backup is now more cost-effective than tape. Additionally, safer for the data because it's putting the data off-site, whereas tape backup, since it is generally, in most cases, I don't know how it wouldn't be local, is susceptible to any natural disaster or other accidental deletion or damage that might occur on site within an office or within a home.
And when we look at the adoption curve with businesses are typically going to be a little more conservative. They have more on the line. They have their livelihood. Whereas consumers, accounting for 33% of the growth in the online backup market between 2009 and today, we've seen, and that's year over year, is it makes sense that now we're seeing a big boom in SMB business. So in 2009, not so much, so people are still renewing tape contracts. Tapes die every 3 years. Usually users don't replace them except for maybe every 5 or 6, which is a huge problem with the tape systems. But now they're coming into it and they're familiar. They understand it and trust the security. And the IDC is speaking to this growth in the market of the hard cost of service. So nothing to do with the managed service market, which we don't really know a whole lot about. Managed service rates vary. There are many different discussions around, well, how much do you charge for managed services versus break fix? You know, what do you go through that, or how do you go about pricing that out? Some people base it on estimates per workstation in an environment, some per server, really complex formulas. I'm more of a fan of simplicity, and we'll get more discussion about that later on. But the SMB boom in cloud services is really what we're looking at right now. So never before have we had such a growth in availability of small businesses in the United States to have access to remote desktop and server functionality and services. So now that you have markets that weren't even reachable before, that's really nice because they're untouched. You know, go land grab. And then you have the people who were touched, and maybe they had limited implementation. Maybe one user in their whole business had an online backup account. And now you're looking at an increase in the scope of adoption. So maybe instead of one person using online backup in the whole business centers around their online backup strategy. So when we look at the graph here where it's really jumping up, it's a two-part. It's one, the increase in adoption overall, because the market now realizes that online backup is something that's secure, reliable, and cost-effective. And then the people who already adopted are going to adopt more. So it's huge. And again, this doesn't reflect the amount of managed service costs that might be on top of this. Things like, you know, your fire drills. You know, are you going to test, recover the systems? Because that's still a huge part of any backup system. It's all about belt and suspenders.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Derek. So what are SMBs looking for? This is definitely where you want to be. It's who you want to be selling to because they're going to buy the most online backup and, frankly, probably be a little bit more consistent in payment for you. So you're looking into selling online backup because you want to provide something that the market needs, that the market is requesting, and you want to make recurring revenue. And we'll continue to talk about that more in the presentation. But very importantly, you want to make sure that you're offering something that SMBs want. And what they want has been augmented and supported by numerous studies by the IDC, Gartner, Forrester, all those big analyst firms. They want total business data protection. So this means that an SMB wants coverage for workstations, servers, laptops, and mobile devices, all from one suite of services and from one provider. So you can make a great deal of money by pitching businesses who you can be an MSP or an IT consultant for. You can be viewed as a very, very valuable vendor for that business by creating a total business continuity solution, meaning that SMB, that business, would never have to worry about losing any of their data because they know, because you've supported them and provided them with a great product, they can get that data back whenever they want. So what's in the SOS 360-degree partner program? That's probably why you're all here, to find out what is in this program and what's in it for you. SOS offers MSPs a business in a box. We know that that's a little bit cheesy, but it's totally what it is. You can start selling online backup, even on the web, within 3 weeks. We give you a website template, which you can customize. The one below on the screen is a slight example. You can update the content, you can update the colors, you can update your logo. There is integrated billing, so like I mentioned, you can sell file and folder backup online on your own website. You'll be, of course, selling award-winning software, and best of all, no hardware purchase is required. We find this to be a huge competitive advantage, and it allows you guys to be more competitive out there in the marketplace, because we don't force you to buy a box that's like $2,000 or $3,000 to get started in the program. You can get started in the program on a monthly basis without any major commitment. We give you a rebranded client, rebrandable sales materials, and rebrandable marketing materials. So these are all available in a little website that we like to call the Partner Resource Center. So that is, of course, available to you. Also, business development assistance is available to you. So after you become a partner, you'll have access to our business development manager. His name is Mike Zarudny, and he can help you with pitching online backup. He can help you with pricing online backup. We're going to talk about that a bit today. But he can help you generally get your strategy off the ground and get you selling online backup. We also offer 12/7 partner support, so about 12 hours a day. We do have support located here in Los Angeles, and those guys can help you with administrative or technical questions or any questions that a client may have. We have data centers located in the UK, US, Canada, and Australia. So if there are any of you on the line that are in Canada or even the UK, if you stayed up late to talk to us, you can get your data backed up to that specific location. And of course, we offer Exchange, SQL, and Windows backup. I'd like to pause here and see if there are any questions. We do love questions. If you ask a question, you will be entered into the drawing to win a Kindle. So please ask away. If there aren't any questions, we'll go ahead and get into the product suite. The SOS Online Backup product suite is a complete one. Like we mentioned earlier, we know that SMBs want to get their online backup products and solutions, their business continuity solutions, from one place. So we are enabling you to provide them that. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see what speaks to our SOS ServerSave product. Our SOS ServerSave product allows you to back up total system data to the cloud. So this is a bare metal image. You take a bare metal image of operating systems. You can take a bare metal image of all application data, so that's SQL servers, Exchange, and SharePoint, as well as file servers and Windows servers. In that solution, there is file data backup. So this is all of your documents, images, emails, and all of it is completely recoverable from the cloud. There are no limitations to what you can recover. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see some things that are blue and green. These are really our products that are our bread and butter, our desktop backup. That's what we win awards for. That's what we're really, really good at. We also offer backup for smartphones, for iPhone and Android. And we offer backup for Facebook. We'll also be releasing in the future backup for Twitter and Gmail. Which brings up a really important point about things that people think are in the cloud but aren't really in the secure cloud. There are a number of security issues with Twitter as well as Gmail. Storing things in Google Docs isn't a secure way of storing it. It's easy to delete it. It's difficult to get it back if maybe you accidentally deleted it or you overwrote it with something. It's really not backup at all.
It really just goes to the intention of what you set out to build when you have an architecture. Backup is inherently a security-based system, and storage is just that. It's just a place to store data. And then, of course, the difference in backup and storage services are the flexibility to use data and the lack of control or the difference in controls over who can access that information. So the security issues you see with recently Dropbox, Box.net, Google, Facebook, Twitter, these things are not accounted for because they're just going with cheap storage solutions. It's about how much information can they store at the lowest dollar amount. Security is rather an afterthought. You have standard practices. Whereas with backup, the whole point is that this data is not going anywhere. So there's a lot more complexity on our side when it comes to how we go about architecting out our infrastructure and our services to make sure that that is the case. So having a backup strategy, which is in this experimental group of products that we're working on right now, is sure, cloud-based systems are huge. Again, the SMB boom in cloud service adoption is massive. But how do we make sure that all the information is still protected? And that's our focus, is being a cross-platform backup utility. Mac, Windows, the cloud even, and then your mobile devices.
Okay, we've got a bunch of questions that we'll go ahead and pause for, and I think Derek may have covered a little bit of it. Philip asked, only one column showed monthly cost per gigabyte. I think you were probably referring to the reseller program comparison. Yes, that is true. So the reason for that is that it's very, very difficult to get apples-to-apples information about these companies. I'm trying to summarize it as best I possibly can. Unfortunately, that wasn't available. And Alan has a question, do you have generic branded Twitter, Facebook, and Gmail applications? No, Dave, I'm sorry, we do not right now.
Right. Those are still in our experimental group of products that we're still working on. So over time, we really focus on our partner channel. So when we get to a point where we like it and we think it's worth pushing out to you, then that's when we'll have that available. No ETAs on those yet.
Abik asked, can you explain Cloud Life Backup? How are you backing up stuff from Facebook? Is it automated?
Yes. So it works on a schedule. So it just backs up on every night, and that's it. And you can actually go check out the SOS Facebook application. If you go to Facebook, add SOS Online Backup, like us, we love that. And then you can install the application and install it with your username and password.
And I'd like to add what's cool about that is when you do back up your photos from Facebook or contacts or whatever, you can restore it anywhere. So if you want to back up your photos there and then restore them to your PC or your Mac, you can do that.
And then the question on mobile backup, desktop backup, all integrated into the billing under one account. So let's follow up on what do we mean by hosted billing? Well, we'll go over this in a little more detail, but the web integration package is a package that we put together to satisfy the needs of a good amount of our partners, which was we have APIs that tie into our system to create accounts, upgrade accounts, get account information, reset passwords, that sort of thing. Pretty standard. But a lot of our partners wanted to take these APIs and integrate it into a merchant gateway system so they could bill people online or bill people through their system. And we found that a majority of our partners either had external resources where they had to first learn the system and they got charged a lot for that, and they ended up spending somewhere around $5,000 or $6,000 for this basic level of integration with our system. On the other hand, we had partners who had really long timelines as far as how long it took them to get to that point. Sometimes as long as 6-7 months just to get that integration done. And that could be for a number of reasons. Limited resources, they have a lot on their plate, whatever the case may be. So we originally went out and built, I guess we can pull up the example now. Why don't we pull up partnername.sosonlinebackup.com. or the onlinebackupcheckout.com. All right, so this is our web integration package. So this is the package that we deliver to all of our partners. So it's hosted on onlinebackupcheckout.com. You put your partner name there. And then you have the CSS editor where you can come and control the content. And as you see, you have multiple pages. So we have 9 total pages. And information about what you might offer to home users, business users. And you don't have to use this. A lot of our partners like this as a base template, and then they end up changing all of it. Or you just deactivate some of this. Some of this some of you won't even offer this to home users. A little YS, this is about your company. Of course, you want to go modify that. And then security and sign up. So when we originally built this web package about a year and a half ago, it was just this sign up page. We've integrated this into multiple systems. So right now it supports PayPal Pro, PayPal Standard, which we don't recommend, which I'll go into in a little bit, Authorized.net, and eWay for our Australian customers, and as of yesterday, Paygate for our South African customers. So the reason we don't recommend PayPal Standard is because with recurring billing accounts, there's a lot of limitations, but basically it's a little more work on your end. If people upgrade their account, it doesn't prorate the account. You have to go in and cancel the old billing profile. So just one more step if someone upgrades, but usually not that big of a deal. Just get PayPal Pro. But so what we've done with this dashboard, and let's log into it. So we can log in here. Oh, let's see. So we see we've integrated multiple modules into this web integration package. And this is actually separate of the monitoring and reporting system that we'll show you at, when we finish up the presentation. But just real briefly, we've integrated in a gateway system. So you have the different gateways you can choose from. And you just enter your credentials in here, and then you're ready to start modifying backup plans and accepting billing online. So that's a little quick overview of that, and I guess we'll get back to some questions.
Brian wants to know, well, first of all, Dana, I hope that answered your question. So additionally, if you are selling desktop backup over in the website integration package like Derek just showed, then that user will also be able to have access to the generic mobile backup clients. And I think that answers another question as well from LaFour. These mobile backup applications are generic branded, and they're not branded for you, but they are generic branded, so the user will not see the SOS name. Brian wants to know, is system data backup available for home and small businesses? I'd love to hear about the home that has a server, but system backup is for servers, and you could deploy it anywhere you like.
Yeah, right now our system only supports really sending out the image-based backup tool for server operating systems, but if you have a couple of desktops, then you can talk to your partner specialist about that, and they'll take care of you. We have a question from Tolu. How is it to incorporate other payment merchants in other countries? Well, if you have a merchant gateway that you like to use, we do have a kind of a web integration development partner with Right Now Web Design, and you give us the information about that gateway as far as the API information. We'll do a quick evaluation, and then we can quote you on the custom development work.
Sam wants to know, why do you say it will take 3 weeks to get up and running on the web app?
Well, it doesn't. It takes a couple days. So from the point that you sign up, we have you up and running in 2 to 3 business days.
But if you want to also take advantage of the training, there are weekly trainings for you to get completely technically trained on the product and really ready to go. It may take you a couple weeks to do that, but we have the resources here available for you to do so.
Neville, another question, how do we unhide a section? You just hit the section title again, and then it'll unhide it.
But if you do have other specific questions, you can definitely have a one-on-one, call the Partner Concierge hotline.
All right.
Before asked, do we need to talk to our partner specialist before using the ServerSave license and install on a desktop for bare metal backup?
Well, the default, the ServerSave licenses that the system will deliver to you will only work on a server operating system. So if you have a desktop operating system that you want to do a bare metal backup of, then yes, you have to talk to your partner specialist about getting licenses for that. Okay, so going through, what do you get when you come into our program? So, and this answers a couple other questions we have. So, Exchange Backup and Granular Recovery and Bare Metal Image Creator. This is really what defines what our ServerSave offering is. So we have 3 applications that is incorporated underneath the ServerSave title. And it's these three listed. So you have the ability to create bare metal images of certain system volumes, and that's done locally. So you create an image, put it to a local location, and then if you have that image locally, then you can restore it locally. Then you have Online Backup and Recovery Manager. This is to get those images off-site or to recover them back from off-site. And specifically, the Workstation Backup, which is the same application, is just to get files and folders off-site to the SOS Cloud and then back from the SOS Cloud. Exchange Granular Recovery is a part of the image creator. So you would take an image of the volume that your Exchange server is on, and then once you have your EDB file, you use the EGR program, or Exchange Granular Recovery, to search, preview, and view specific messages or items like calendar items, contacts, whatever it is you want. Or you could restore an entire mailbox or an entire Exchange store. And we'll show you how to do that in the demo. And then the Online Backup Recovery Manager, this is branded dynamically. So in the partner dashboard we have for you, you would upload your logo and your product name. And when your users log in, it'll pull down this information to the client. And that'll be for the Workstation Backup as well. EGR is generic as Exchange Granular Recovery, no branding present, as well as Image Creator, which is Shadow Protect's, or StorageCraft's Shadow Protect client that we've integrated into our system. There's also, for Online Backup and Recovery, there's also a Mac Online Backup and Recovery agent, which up until this week was completely generic, and we're actually in the final days of testing our dynamically branded Mac application, which will be branded the same way as the PC client, and that'll be available in the next few days. We'll probably release it Tuesday next week. And then the web integration package, which we talked about. So it's a huge differentiator. I mean, no one else in the market is giving you a tool like this, and it's really just to help you get out into the market. So this is really that business in a box combined with our staff to help you discuss how to get out there in the market. Then the mobile applications, these are generically branded, and the iOS, unfortunately, is published by SOS Online Backup. Nothing we can do about that. It's a Apple requirement.
Can everyone hear us okay? Tolu says that our audio is fading a bit. Just let us know. Okay. Okay. It sounds like everyone else is good. Sorry about that, Tolu. Let us know if you continue to have problems. Okay. So SOS ServerSave, I show this slide because I want to make it very, very clear that SOS ServerSave does not by any means try to even compete with Carbonite and Mozy because it's in a totally different class. It is in a what we call business class. If we're looking at this, we're comparing Coach to business class. SOS ServerSave is the online backup solution, the complete online backup solution for businesses. And the reason that this is because it offers bare metal backup, and not just regular old bare metal backup, but transactionally consistent bare metal backup as opposed to crash consistent. And if anyone isn't sure about what that means, please type in the chat and let us know so that we can explain it because it is important. SOS ServerSave, of course, offers NAS backup and a little thing that we call SOS ServerSave, which is automatic and infinite archiving. So there are no limits to the amount of time that data can be stored. It can be stored forever. This is really important if you have financial clients or legal clients who may need to keep data for a very long time. Dana says, I use StorageCraft now. You've certainly improved your game. Sign me up. Awesome. Come on, Dana. We're ready for you. So are there any questions about what SOS ServerSave offers? We hope that this is very clear, and we hope to communicate that this is a total business backup solution. So you're able to do bare metal backup on all Windows-based servers within an organization, as well as desktops and laptops from a single portal. And Derek will show you a bit about how that works later on in the presentation. So who does SOS ServerSave compete with? It competes more with guys like Zenith and Tronos and eVault, but still it shares a lot of features, but it also has a lot of features that are unique to it. Primarily it's flexibility. It allows you to back up to 5,000 laptops and desktops per account. You can't do that over there with the other guys. You get into licensing fees and figuring out how much you actually owe based on the number of PCs or devices that you may be backing up. None of that here. It's very, very, very simple. Your monthly plan is based upon the amount of server licenses that you buy and the amount of space that you want to keep up in the SOS cloud available for you and your customers to use. Very simple. And of course, as we've talked about, SOS ServerSave offers bare metal backup and recovery, Exchange backup and recovery, Windows, SharePoint, SQL, and centralized management, which Derek will show you. And of course, the thing that we win awards for, which is military-grade security. All of our data centers are Tier 3 and Tier 4, as well as having our data encrypted 3 times in 3 different places before it gets to the data center. We have a question from LaFour. When the Mac Dynamic branded version gets released, will the end user on Mac have to reinstall the project, or will their version automatically update with their rebranded information?
It will not automatically update, but it will show a notification that the new client is available.
Cool. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, and you would just install the new version right over the top.
Awesome. Nice and easy. So what about our data centers? Most of you on the line today are probably in North America. If you're not, let me know. And you have a question about some of our other data centers, please let me know. Our North American data centers are located in Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, and Toronto. We have 11 total global points of presence, and we will soon have a South African data center. All our data centers are secured with 24/7 watch, video surveillance, biometric credential requirements, backup generators, temperature, and humidity control. These are all the things that make them Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers. And of course, Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers do also beget compliance, so government compliance with things like Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, etc.
And Neville, this is the slide we were talking about the other day. So this slide deck is available in the, or will be available soon in the Partner Resource Center. We just did a little revamp of it, but all of you will have information about our data center reach.
Yes. Dana asked, does the Exchange recovery happen on the client side or in the cloud? I assume you're using OnTrack. So the recovery occurs locally on the image that you've created of the Exchange server. Hopefully that makes sense.
So we use the image creator or the StorageCraft service to create the images on the local network. Big pieces of data, that's a big part of your solution. Exchange granular recovery is also done locally. But you use the online backup agent to take those images off-site. So if you needed to, you put them off-site on a regular basis. So if for some reason you couldn't restore from your locally held devices, then you could download them to a new location and then restore them locally.
Yeah, which is another beautiful thing about our bare metal backup. You can restore to dissimilar hardware, which forcing you to restore to similar hardware makes absolutely zero sense. I'm not sure why anyone would ever do that, because if you're restoring, by virtue of restoring, your server would have been destroyed. So you're not going to be restoring it to the same place.
So again, this goes back to what we talked about, and what are SMBs looking for, and the growth of the managed service market. It's about the business continuity services, or whatever you like to call it. That's probably one of the sexiest things to call it today. Historically called risk management services. Not sexy at all. No one wants to pay for that. But business continuity sounds great, and business continuity means you have a belt and suspenders approach. You have a local backup of your bare metal images as well as files and folders. You have an online backup of files and folders as well as the bare metal images. That way you have multiple points of restoration and multiple methods of restoration based on the variety of instances of data loss.
Philip has a question. 95% of my clients are peer-to-peer without a server present. Is bare metal backup not readily available for their workstations?
Talk to your partner specialist and they can help you out with that. It's not complicated. It's just not what you sign up with initially with the program.
Robert says, are your data centers owned, or do you buy from providers like Rackspace? Not Rackspace, but they are co-location data centers. Tolu asks, can your data center be visited or toured by a partner? I've never been asked that question.
No, only 2 people in our organization have permission and access to actually visit the data center. So,
and one of them is the CEO?
And one of them is the CEO. So there is no access to the data centers. It's part of the security we have in the system.
Thanks, Derek. LaFour wants to repeat the statement about restoring to unidentical hardware. So your bare metal images that you take of the server can be restored to a different piece of hardware, which is really critical for true data recovery. Because if you think about it, if you're doing a restore, you're restoring because that server was destroyed or otherwise harmed. So how could you possibly restore data to it? You want to be able to restore to dissimilar hardware, which our system allows you to do.
Yeah, it's just for speed, so that if you needed to get something up and running, if you already had a machine up and running, and you didn't need to mount the image as a new machine, then you can just recover it as a virtual drive. It makes it very simple, very fast to get things back up and running.
Beek asked, what are the advantages of having global data centers? Is it mainly to serve customers who can only use cloud-based solutions in their geographies? Largely, yes. That's generally the answer, yeah.
It's that, and it's a testament to the size of our service and the reach of our program. You know, we're not a one-trick pony based in one area. We've been around for a long time, and the only reason we can maintain such a presence globally is because of our success in online backup.
Sam asked, do you offer any SOP, I assume that means standards or practices, for data recovery materials to be offered to the clients? We do offer a data recovery plan template in our Partner Resource Center. Tony asked, does the restore to different hardware rely on a virtual environment? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
You would bring the image back down from the cloud. That's the only virtual part of it.
We'll just show you how it works in the demo to be more clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any plans for restoring servers in the cloud coming? Yes, there are, my friend.
Actually, we have it now, where it's still limited for and designed for smaller servers, so not for like an Exchange server. But if you have a small web server, we can actually, I believe it's $700 a month or $500 a month. Call your partner special and ask about it, but we call it SOS Cloud Boot. And we will recover the images you put up to the cloud, and then we'll mount them in our cloud, give you an IP address and secure access, and then you could, redirect your network to that while you're rebuilding something.
Yep. Thanks, Derek. Okay. So we'll pause on questions for a little bit, come back to them, and for now, we'll talk a bit about determining the right sales price for the right customer. So this starts by identifying your customer base and analyzing your customer base. Who are they? Are they businesses or they residential users? Obviously, you'd offer them something different in each case. What do they need to back up? Do they know what backup is? So how sophisticated are they? What other services do you provide for them? So might you be able to bundle your services and therefore increase your sales price? Step 2, do an ROI analysis with our SOS Partner Specialist if you haven't already. This is really, really helpful, and it's a takeaway for you, and you can keep it in working to build your business. What you'll do with them is first analyze your customer base, and then develop a revenue model. This is a working Excel spreadsheet. Like I said, you can take it away with you. They'll send it to you. You can see how recurring revenue can affect your business over time, and consider different pricing options for your new online backup product. And then finally, create a business development plan. So you can do this on your own, of course, if you feel like you're business savvy enough to do so, or you can work with our business development manager on how to pitch online backup. Then you need to determine the right products for the right customer. So we kind of already identified this. When you analyze your customers, you'll decide, is the right product for them file and folder plus server backup, or is it just regular file and folder backup? So are these customers businesses with on-site servers, or are they largely residential? What we recommend is if you have businesses that need to buy file and folder and server backup, is to sell backup packaged with server licenses as well as some other services. We'll talk about that next. If you're selling file and folder backup, we of course recommend that you try to use the website integration package to sell these plans and sell them in 50 gigabyte increments. That's small enough for you to be able to upsell your customers, and it's also small enough that it's palatable for them. They don't feel overwhelmed by having to buy a really big plan.
A common mistake we find is offering too many options. You really want to think of it as who's buying it, or what's the environment that this is being put to. It's a single user. It's maybe 3 to 5 users. and maybe it's a small business with a small server, or it's a bigger business with a server. So you have the 5 gig trial that we give you to send out to people. Then create a 25 gig individual user plan, a 50 gig multi-user plan, a 100 gig SMB plan, and then a 200 gig larger business plan. And anything after that is really easy. But just make the buying decision process simple.
Yep, absolutely. Next, you'll definitely want to look at competitive prices. So here's a quick sampling for you. This is just a sampling of businesses retailing different products online. So at the very minimum, your competitors are retailing online backup, which is 250 gigabytes with 1 server license, for 35% more than SOS. And of course, you're buying it from us for less since you're buying it wholesale. And we'll look at the plans here in a little bit. But this wide range of prices shows you that there is a wide range of margin to be made. Most of our partners are making around 60 to 70% margin. And you can see that that's well within the realm of what's out there in the marketplace. Depending on the type of solution it is, Asigra I put on here, but Asigra doesn't actually even offer cloud backup. That's mostly the software as well as the box. You could get all the way up to $12,000 with doyens. So you can definitely compete out there in the marketplace with our solution and find a price point that's right for you and your customers well within the competitive range. So what do we recommend? It depends on what you're positioning yourself at. If you want to sell online backup totally as a commodity and you're selling it to really small micro businesses, and I'm talking about businesses with like fewer than 5 employees and that might have 1 server on site, or maybe really none, maybe they're using like a desktop program as a server, then you're going to be selling it for about $1,290 a year. Now, how do you move up from that scale? How do you get to the medium and high area? It's all about how you productize your solution and your services. You could sell as a managed service for probably about $3,000 a year. Again, this is for 250 gigabytes and 1 server. So these are your small businesses. These are guys with like 10 to 50 employees. We do toss around the term SMB, or small to medium-sized business, quite a lot, but really the range and definition of what an SMB is huge. It could be 10 people, 10 employees, to 500 employees. And as you well know, working with businesses in that range varies quite a lot. A business with 5 employees is a very different business than one with 300. So when can you get into selling as an IT consultant? This is when you are providing a complete business continuity solution and disaster recovery planning. And with that, since you're bundling in a service, you'll be able to command a higher price for your products and services. You would be able to sell 1 server backup license and 250 gigabytes for about $6,000 a year. And as we saw back here, you would still well be in the competitive range. So what about our pricing? What about your revenue opportunity? For those of you that aren't in the program, you may never have seen this before, but this is our basic plan structure. So it starts at ServerSave 5. With ServerSave 5, you get 1 terabyte of cloud space, which you can provision however you like, and 5 server licenses, which you can use however you like. This ends up being $399 a month. Now, if you do buy an annual plan, you could save on 2 months. So you'd only pay for 10 months. So buying an annual plan up front is really advantageous to you, particularly if you're planning on making a large margin on this product, which hopefully most of you are. Usually there's a lot of questions on this slide, so feel free to ask away. The very bottom line shows monthly margin per package. So if you had ServerSave 5 and you sold every server license and all of your gigs at our recommended price of $129 per month, so $1,290 per year, you'd be making about $246 per month. Now, if you were selling as an IT consultant and you were bundling in a number of other services, of course this number goes up. And that is all up to you. We do not dictate what you sell at. You are more than welcome to package and sell SOS ServerSave and SOS Online Backup however you like. I'm not getting any questions on this slide, so hopefully it's really clear. And this is the type of information that you would take into consideration when you do an ROI analysis with your partner specialist. Is there anyone on the line who doesn't know who their partner specialist is? Please let us know, and we'll make sure that after the call, someone gets in touch with you. Kevin doesn't know. Okay, good to know. We will help you out. Before wants to know, are the server licenses additional when used? No, absolutely not. You pay for this. This is a wholesale program, so you pay for what you intend to ultimately use at the time that you buy it. There are no additional fees later on. Kevin asks, also, is the monthly cost the monthly price plus monthly cost per server? Absolutely not. This is just a breakout. So the monthly cost per server license is if we take $399 divided by 5. Then that's the monthly cost per server license. But the only price you pay for what you see on the screen is $399 per month. Totally wants to know, can partners still take advantage of the annual plan offer? We are still very much interested and hope to go for it soon. Yeah, talk to your partner specialist and talk to our VP of sales if you need to, but you can certainly make that upgrade. It's not a problem. And also, what is the difference between a backup license and a server license? So a backup license is just for a desktop. It's really, I'd be really impressed if you had 1,000 desktops to back up, and I hope you do.
Yeah, really the backup license is just the ability to create an online backup account. That's it. So we just make it one license per 1 gig pretty much. So we just round it 1,024 gigabytes, 1,000 accounts. And
Kevin wants to know, can you upgrade from ServerSave 5 to ServerSave 10 at any time, or is there an annual contract that has to expire first? You can upgrade at any time. We'll prorate your account and make the price work for you. And Dana wants to know how much per gig when over limits. No such thing. Same price as you were paying previously. Just we'll notice, or you'll tell us when you are going over, and then we'll just add gigs to your account.
And does the server license include bare metal image exchange and SQL backup features? Yeah, so it's all included. You have the image tool where you select system volumes, creates an image of them, and then you have the exchange granular recovery tool as a part of that. They're not separate.
Sam wants to know, can a backup license be used on a server operating system without using a ServerSave license?
There are two systems. There's 3 applications. So there's the online backup and recovery application. That can be used anywhere. Just install it wherever you like. It'll work. Then there's Image Creator. Image Creator, to create the bare metal images, requires a license, and that's a license per machine. VM or physical, they're treated as the same.
Tolu caught me on an oops. I thought you could back up an unlimited number of computers in an account. Yes, honestly, Tolu, you can. I really shouldn't say that there's only 1,000 because you really can back up however many you want. Robert says, how easy or difficult have you found it to sell ServerSave to a distant client not on-site accessible? Truly not hard. It's easier for you to sell your services if you have a client that you're nearby to and you can go and talk to. Yeah. But selling backup to them is not difficult.
Yeah, what the ServerSave, like bare metal imaging specifically, best practices do include some things that you've got to be on site for. So as long as you have somebody on site that you can work with to make sure they're configuring the network, or if you're sending the backups to some other machine or to a NAS device, or you just need more hardware space or storage space, whatever it is, it's as difficult as that is.
Kevin wants to know what's the usual ramp-up time from applying for a partner account and onboarding my first client. Well, by the way, Kevin, there is no application process. You can simply get started, and it is as fast as you would like it to be. You can truly have everything that you need to get going within a matter of a couple of days, and you'd be fully trained within a couple of weeks. So you can come online as fast as you want.
Or with the recorded videos,
yeah,
you can choose the recorded videos
so
to get started.
There's no limitation. We don't confine you on that in any way. You're more than welcome to onboard people as quickly as you want to.
Yeah. We've had partners sign up, get delivered, and sign up the first customer same day. So.
Yeah. Dana asked, is StorageCraft FTP client available so that we can copy to our office with the images.
If you want to use the storage FTP client to do that, you can do that, and then go online with our service. It's not our FTP client, so just go to their site and get it.
Okay, one more question and we'll get into the demo. LaFleur asked, can bandwidth be balanced with the app during backup?
Yeah, there's no throttling control over the network speed. With the server environment, usually you just throttle that server to whatever you want to use. But it's a pretty lax system. It does a slow escalation or slow acceleration of upload speed used for when it's running a backup. And it bounces between processing and uploading. So you'll see it use upload speed and then no upload speed, just processing, and then upload and process. We do it in batches. So it's actually a pretty nice system. The time where you see a lot of system resource, which we'll talk about, is really with large file backup. And the limitation is purely based on the local system hardware specs.
Okay, I know I said that was the last question, but we do have one more, so we'll go ahead and do that. Philip asked, does your rebrandable literature specify a limited or unlimited gigabyte storage? It's customizable, so you can put whatever you like.
Yeah, I would recommend not putting unlimited gigabytes because that's just not true.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best for your business.
Yeah, and then with the recent tsunamis in Asia, I mean, there is actually a shortage of gigabytes, as we joke about here.
Yeah.
But literally, like if you try to order servers from Dell right now, like a lot of their manufacturers are, you know, they're trying to pump it out, but a lot of the plants are inoperable right now. So it's about, I think it was like 20 to 30% of the manufacturing power was reduced for storage devices. All right. All right, so I'm pulling up a VM here. Looks like my backup drive is full. And let me make sure that you are seeing the screen I want you to see. All right, everyone's seeing just this VM now? This is Windows 2008 running R2. Everyone seen the ServerSave application? All right, great. Robert, good question, but that'd be something you should probably call in and talk to your partner specialist about. So just call on the hotline, and then they'll tell you who you should be talking to about upgrading to the new program and the new package. All right. So here, again, we have the different applications that ServerSave describes. ServerSave is not actually something that you install. It's just an executable that's going to run and populate the three main applications here represented by 4 buttons. But that's just because our emphasis on workstation backup. Workstation backup is probably the most neglected strategy in backup out there in the market, so much so that we put a separate button in here for it. But it's actually the same application, that's the same logo. It is online backup and recovery. So we have 3 applications: online backup and recovery, image creator, and exchange granular recovery. If you go to our knowledge base, we have good articles on how to, in best practice, put these into a single environment. And so if you go to knowledge base and search for staging machine, you'll find out how we recommend taking advantage of a staging machine in your environment. Now, we did say we don't require you to buy hardware, to purchase hardware to use our system, and that's true. But we're talking now in this article about a best practice for putting together a total backup solution, which of course would include local hardware for a local backup procedure. So let's use bare metal image creator. So I open this up. You see it shadow protects. We have the wizard, Windows Volume Manager, shows my backup drive is nearly full, which is why it's not running. Backup job. I can edit, run this. I'm going to delete it because I'm going to show you how to schedule it later. Destination, same thing as Windows Volume Manager. You usually take care of this in the wizard. And then backup history, where it gives you in plain English what's happening per event and overall event by event. If we go to the options, over here we can set up agent options. You can set up an email report to be sent when this is running. So your email reporting just for storage or just for the image backup. Let's create an image backup job. Create backup, hit next. Then give us the option of viewing it as a list or viewing it with pretty pictures. So by pretty pictures, I can select the different volumes I want. Now, because we're going off-site, you want to make sure that you're selecting more specifically. You wouldn't just say, okay, well, I'm going to create an image of both the C drive and my Exchange volume, because that means to recover this from online, you're going to have to recover this additional 30 gigs of system data just to get your Exchange volume back. That is not a very good online recovery strategy. So you want to make sure that if you are planning on going off-site with these images, that you are more specific and more strategic with how you separate system volumes for different applications. So we have Exchange Volume E. It's a whopping 5 gigabytes. Not that common to have something so small. Typically, you're looking at about 2 gigabytes per user, somewhere between 2 and 5, and that's a good estimate to have for how big your Exchange server might be. But I'll hit next, and this is where I select my staging machine. So the staging machine is a machine, to be a Windows 7 box, but it's going to be the machine that we would host the backups on, and it's also the machine from where we will take the image backups and take them off-site. That way we're using this other machine that's off-site your production resources to process data. Again, there are a lot of local procedures that we're doing as far as compression, encryption for security, file building, and so it takes system resources. And you want to make sure that the backups are not slowing down your production servers. So you use this backup on your production server, say for now our Exchange server, and we're going to send it to some network location where it's going to go to our staging machine, our backup machine. It's also nice in case you need to recover data. You have it right there. You can mount up another VM to recover to and do it that way. So for instance, we back the specs for our staging machine. We have 12 gigs of RAM, 8 cores, Windows 7 64-bit desktop license. It's really just a real fast workstation. But we can use it in a variety of ways if we need to do a quick recovery of something or a PMU, which we can talk about later. Well, when I say machine, I mean it's got a motherboard and it's its own independently operated machine. You can put this to a NAS device, but then you're not taking advantage of, then you're not removing the system resources from being used. You're just adding additional storage, which is fine to do. So that would be like, for instance, this. Like I'm going to select the F drive, which essentially could be a mapped network drive. So I select the network drive, hit next. Now I'm going to schedule the backup. So typically you do a full backup once a week and incrementals throughout the week. And this is to help with also consolidating the number of files you have backed up locally and have to keep track of. It also has to do with the recovery strategy. For some programs, you have to recover individually the full backup and in a sequential order, each incremental. That can be time consuming, so you want to keep the number of files you have limited. But for us, especially going off-site, continuous incremental is what we recommend. This means that it's going to do a full backup initially, and then for an undefined period of time, it's just going to run incrementals. And so you may have 1,000 incrementals, and that's fine. The system doesn't change the steps for recovery based on how many incrementals you have. See that it has use VSS here. So VSS, volume shadow service, many of you are familiar with that. So Windows service, this is how we perform transactionally consistent backups or open file backups of your databases. So it's going to negotiate with the database that's open as long as that database supports VSS. And it's going to have a VSS writer in it. Then it's going to say, hey, I know you're in the middle of doing stuff, but can you finish up what you're doing and not start a new process or a new transaction? And then I'll take a snapshot. Database says fine, finishes up what it's working on, snapshot happens to grab all the data, and then VSS says, okay, we're done, and then the database continues. And it all happens in milliseconds. Versus not doing it this way, and it would just take a snapshot potentially right in the middle of a transaction, losing that record, because transactions are kept in pairs, not in halves. So you do continuous incrementals, hit next, select the compression you want for the data, standards recommended. For those of you that require help, that are doing healthcare records, you need to have a 128-bit AES encryption in your local backups. So you hit enter password, go to advanced, hit encryption, select 128-bit right here, you're good to go. Also, while we're here in the advanced tab, you have different commands. So if you have an old database that is not VSS writer enabled, then you could write a quick bat file and pre-snapshot stop the database and finish transactions, and then after the snapshot restart the database. So you have ways around it if you have some old programs that don't support that. That's it. Split image. This is also recommended if you're going off-site. Again, the limitation on how big is the biggest file that you can back up really depends on how big is the biggest file that your computer can process. That's really the answer. So we recommend keeping your images and split into 5 to 10 gig chunks, and you can set that right here. So we go next, gives us a summary, hit finish, it's recovery. That's actually running, so it'll probably fail because it's full. That's fine. So we got the images running. Now let's say we want to take them off-site. So we install online backup and recovery. So we open this agent up. It's going to have me log in. And now we have our backup wizard. So here we go to set up online backup. You have options to scan folders, which are really nice for workstations, makes it really simple on the user. I'm going to have do not scan, and then when we continue, we'll get into Windows Tree View. So this gives us all the options to check an entire directory off to be backed up. Also, if I scroll to the bottom, I can add a network location if I need to do that. So that's very nice. A lot of our system is all based off of Windows permissions. A lot of systems have these faux permissions built in where, oh, you can't access an external drive, you can't access a network drive or a map drive, whatever it is. And it's really just a control over, see, there we go, so the destination was full. It's really just a control over how much data companies assume that you're going to use, and that they've estimated that if they limit backing up from these external locations, that they can guarantee that they'll stay within a certain range of data usage, and they price according to that. Well, we don't do that. Our philosophy is that if you think you want to back it up, then you should be able to, and go for it. So we open that up for you. We don't have these built-in limitations that a lot of services do. So I can click on the folder name. I see that these are where my images are. I can control down, and expand down here. When you select the folder name, it shows you what files are in here. So this is selected for backups. That means I'm putting all my images into this F drive, which is what we just did with Image Creator. And if any new image gets sent here, then I'm going to back it up. So hit next. That's what we want to do. Backup at the end of the wizard, self-explanatory. Backup automatically without user intervention. That's going to create a task scheduler object. We run through the task scheduler. Here it is there. So if you want to, you can get in there and define different parameters and triggers and settings. Frequency, for laptops and workstations, you can run this every couple of hours and get that restore point objective, RPO, really down. And that's great for individual users because their backup sets are typically pretty small and their changes are going to be small. So you will have these backups run within minutes. You know, they're going to be very, very quick. So you can have them run every hour or two, especially laptop fleets. You want this thing running as often as possible because they're moving around a lot. You know, laptops fail at a greater or earlier than desktops because they're moving around, and most laptops still use regular hard drives that have moving pieces. So the laptop moves, the pieces move, it damages the drive versus a solid state, which solid states still have limitations to how many cycles they can run through. So dying hardware is going nowhere. For servers, so this is image backup. We just do this daily. They run at night. You can send multiple email reports out to give you summaries of what's happened. If you're on a Windows domain, it's important to check this box. When backup Windows user is not logged on, because you'll need to authenticate the Windows user to access network drives, or if the Windows user is not logged on. So otherwise, you're going to get an email report with an error where it didn't have permission to touch any of the files. So we hit finish. This is now scheduled to go. Now let's say we want to restore. So I open up the restore option. I go to online restore. It's going to refresh, and it gives me a bold date for the days that I have backups that have run. So if I go back to February 1, for instance, hit next. Here are the machines we have backed up. Open this up, see what we got listed. There we go. So let's go back. Let's go back to today. What does my backup account look like today? Well, now I have all these other machines. I got a Mac Mini I've added here. I can go back and I got the F drive. You can sort by name or date. The date field is actually a version field too. So if you have new versions of a file, it'll be backed up and the version will look like this with a timestamp. Now for recovery, I actually like going through the classic view because you can make it big if you want to view a lot more information. And I can also shift select recovery. So let's say I go to last demo and I want to recover information from backup job something. Let's see which one we have available here. So backup job 15 here. So I just select this, shift select, and I hit recover, and then I tell it where I want to recover it to. Because I'm not recovering subdirectories, I wouldn't include the original file path. I'm just going to do a new location and then define this new location here. So let's say I recovered to the F drive. We don't have time to go through that whole thing right now. So I open up in Windows Explorer my F drive. And I have these images. So here's backup job 2, incremental of 33. So I'll hit quick mount. This is just in Windows Explorer. Nothing else is open. Dana comments, very nice StorageCraft integration. Thank you, Dana. We think so too. It's good. It works out really nicely. And we're actually going to have a separate online backup wizard just for the StorageCraft images too, so you can put them on different schedules from your file and folder backup. And that'll be probably about 6 weeks away. So now we just mounted Virtual Drive T. Happened that quickly. And again, if we go to the wizard, and we go to Explore Backup, we'll show you what it looks like through the wizard and what we mean by having a really simple backup job. So I select one of the backup jobs I have here, hit next. Then it says, hey, about this backup job, we recognize that you have actually 41 different incrementals. Here's the timestamp date for all these. Here's the information about it. Which one do you want to recover to? I'll select the most recent, hit next. Same thing, assign a drive letter, mount as read-only, hit next. Here's the intelligent file chain recovery, so you don't have to manually do it yourself. Hit finish, and it's going to mount it as a virtual drive. There we go. All right, so that's what we got for that. This restore option is for doing using a boot disk. So you use the StorageCraft boot disk to do that. So now that we got that drive recovered, let's go to Exchange Granular Recovery. So again, this is based on Windows permissions. So I'll hit New, go to Computer, Exchange Drive, View, Exchange, Mailbox, Mailbox. There's the EDB file. Automatically selects the transaction log path, so I hit OK. And then up here, it's going to tell me what I just recovered, so the information from this EDB file. There are a lot of other questions coming in, and we're going to get to those. I just want to get through this demo real quickly. So now we need to select a target. So it can just be a PST file if you, for whatever reason, wanted to export and all that, or it can be an Exchange server. Again, Windows permission issues. It's all based on Windows permission. So the Windows user I'm logged in as has to be an admin on this Exchange server. Hit OK, it's going to authenticate, and then down here in the target, it's going to load what I have access to. Pretty simple. So, quick use case that I use, can drop this down. You can see calendar items, inbox items, drafts, deleted, contacts, notes, junk mail, RSS feeds, sent items, suggested contacts, etc. Let's say a user comes in and says, Mr. Admin, I need a document that was sent to my email, had something to do with management. I don't know when it was sent, but I lost it. Please recover it for me. So we select, okay, let's search through attachment file names. We're going to search for management. Browse, we're going to search through your mailbox, hit find now. All these messages come up, so I double click this and say, okay, here's a preview. Is this the message? He said, that's probably it. Let's see what that attachment says. Open it up. It's the management guide. Is that the one? He says, yes, that's great. Really easy. And then even easier, he says, okay, how do I get it back? And I say, okay, no problem. Drag, drop in the inbox. Oh, that was in the journal. Drag and drop in the inbox. And then done. So there it is. Let's say even more flexibly, I want to search through, all of these users. I want to see who else has this management guide. Search through all of it. Let's say I wanted to search across the live Exchange server, and I wanted to delete every message that had this attachment on it. So I'd do managementguide.pdf. So I search through the live, this is on the live Exchange server now. Just go through, shift select all this, right click, delete. That's it, and they're gone. So pretty simple program. I can drag and drop this mailbox right over here. I can drag and drop the entire EDB to this new piece of hardware. So you want mailboxes to be created for the mailboxes that don't already exist? Yes, of course I do. Of course I don't want to do that right now. But it's that easy. That's the power of Exchange Granular Recovery. EGR does require a MAPI32 client installed. It's all part of a guide. So in your partner dashboard, which here I'll bring that up. So while the backups are running, how do you look at what's happening with the backups when it comes to the online backup? Watching you come into the SOS dashboard, and you have these things where you can say, okay, show me the backup activity. And on a daily basis, you can have an email address. They'll send you out a summary of all the current statuses of all the accounts. Now, we use this for a lot of trials. So we have a lot of no backups during the last 3 days or during last week because the trials expire and they stop running. So I would just, remove that account. Or you can filter by what's going on, error, warning, or okay. While the backups are running, there will be a setting, or it'll say, okay, this backup is checked in. It checks in every half hour. Gives you a green if it checks in. If more than an hour goes by and it hasn't checked in, you get a yellow. If 2 hours goes by, you get a red that the backup stopped responding. If the backup's already run and it's in between scheduled backups, then you get a green if it's run in the last day. You get a yellow if it hasn't run in the last day. And you get a red if it hasn't run in 3 days, and red if it hasn't run in a week. And if you go and you can filter by that. And the history view, this is actually kind of a beta release of our history tab. But this shows you, what's happening historically with specific accounts. So you can see the historical usage of a specific data set, including speed. And this is going to have a lot more functionality in about 2 weeks. So over the next month, this dashboard, 2 months really, this dashboard is our primary focus. So we're adding in a lot of tools for recovery, monitoring, reporting, controls over the backup set, branding, so you brand the application right from here, put in your product name and your logo. This is also where you assign server licenses. You can manage licenses, and you can assign a license right here or unassign. Very very simple system to use, and we're happy to see where it's going. And Phil asks, is there a recorded version of this? Yes, if you go to sosonlinebackup.com and you go to the bottom of the webinars section, we post all the recorded webinars. Good question. Can the end user have access to this information, the backup history, without seeing other information? It's a different dashboard, so the user actually has access to a My Account system. So if I open up Online Backup, and I hit Go to Web Portal, and also the activity history, we're designing that with the intent of you being able to send more detailed reports to your customers who request them. So I go to reports, and I have machine backup details as well as backup history. So this gives me a list of all the machines that I'm running backups on, the used space per machine, and the last backup date per machine. So this is one of the reports that your users get. And from this portal, they can search through their backup set, and they can share files to other people as well. Or if they go on their mobile device, m.manage.offsite.backup.net, then you have a mobile version of the My Account system that they can log into. And of course, we have generically branded iPhone application. It's published by SOS though. And then we're going to be releasing a generically branded Android application in the next month. So question, back to the staging machine, is this machine something that you would suggest we charge for as a managed device or service? Well, certainly you don't want to be in the hole on it, so anything that you're providing you should be charging for. This is a diagram. Do I need a staging server to use SOS? This is kind of how I put it. Really what happens is you put together what a true backup solution looks like. A backup solution being a combination of different backup strategies. Again, both an on-site backup and recovery strategy is for image and file and folder, as well as off-site for file and folder and image-based backup and recovery. So those types of things, they have that going. Sam asks, why does that account say 10 but used 117? Because it's my trial account and I'm special and I can expand that. I suppose I could upgrade the account. I'll do that. We have a light enforcement over account use space. So the client enforces how much you can select here. So you can't select more than your account size in the wizard. But if, say I select the F drive, and that F drive quickly grows to well over 10 gigs, then it'll continue backing up. And you will have reporting and alerting that will tell you, hey, this account's over quota. You need to either go adjust the backup set or upgrade the user. But our policy, our philosophy is we didn't want to prevent backups from running because of data growth. We wanted people to be able to protect the data they needed and then consolidate or change that afterwards, or just upgrade their account. So call up your partner specialist. Get started today. Again, the number is 877-896-3611, extension 1. Put that in the chat for you. Or you can call the local number, 310-878-2626. And get in touch with your partner specialist. They're going to go through a really detailed ROI. Our focus is on not just our partner program and making sure that the partners who are in the program are successful, but making sure that when you enter the program, that this is the right program for you and you enter at the right level so that it's appropriate. You know, if you're just starting out, we're not going to pull you into the ServerSave 100 program. You know, but if you have, 1,000 customers, we're not going to pull you into the Server 5 program so that you're losing money. You know, so they're going to go through what kind of customer base you have, what kind of campaign you think you'd run to this, how you're going to push it out, how you're going to package it with other services, other products. And based on that discussion, you and the partner specialist will find out, 1, is this program right for you? 2, what level of the program is right for you? And then 3, how are we going to make more money than this in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? So again, thank you all for coming today. I think this will wrap it up. My name is Derek Wood, the Partner Product Manager, so we look forward to seeing you out there. Again, 877-896-3611, and that's also similar to our partner support hotline, which is also here in Los Angeles. So our partner support, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific. We have support reps here in Los Angeles to help you out. So thanks, and have a good one.